placed in such a way that the eyes of the Nandi are leveled at the Rudra Bhag. Rudra Bhag is the upper part on which the Abhishek is done, right? So you find Nandi over here.
Thank you.
And in the Gujarat and Rajasthan temples, you'll see that there are toranas which are there between the two pillars, right? So these are the ornamental arches, and it gives a lot of beauty to the temple. We'll see that in the coming slides. Now the boundary wall is optional. The temple can have boundary wall or may not have the boundary wall. So this is the basic thing. Now we'll look at the different sub schools. Now, as I said, that it is the Shikara that gives the shape of the mountain to the temple, and it's a very, very important architectural element. So let's look at the three distinct three distinct Shikaras which are prevalent in the Nagara style. Now, if you look at this particular style, as we just discussed that the Garbhagriha is normally square in shape. So this is the square shaped Garbhagriha here. This is the Pitha or the base. This is the outside wall of the temple called as Mandovar, right? And rising just above these four walls is the Shikara, which goes straight and it curves inwards as it goes up, giving it a curvilinear shape, and it gets truncated over here. It's called Skanda, that is shoulder of the Shikara, and above which this Amalaka is placed, and above that there is the Kalasha. Now you'll see some minute engravings here, and this particular Shikara is called Latina Shikara or Lat. Lat in this Nagara terminology means a creeper, right? So this is like, if you see the creepers, it gives this kind of a spidery kind of a look to the Shikara. So this is called Latina. So just see this. This is the Latina Shikara. Straight four walls going up and curving inside, giving it a curvilinear shape. Now there is another different type of a Shikara. This is called Shekhari Shikara. So Shikhar is made up of many Shikaras. So imagine the original Shikara is like this. It is Latina. This is the Latina Shikara here. But on the Latina Shikara, there are half Shikaras attached to the main Shikara. So forget about this three. Just focus on this, right? So if this is the main Shikara, which is like this, the body is like this, you'll have half Shikara attached to the body of the main Shikara. Now there is another Shikara which is half the size of this Shikara, which is again attached to the body of this Shikara. So these are Uru Shringas. Uru means the chest. They are clinging to the chest of the original Shikara. So you'll see this is attached to this Shikara. This is attached to this Shikara. So these are called Uru Shringas. Same thing is on the other side. So all the four sides have subsidiary Shikaras attached to the main Shikara, giving it this kind of a scallop look. Now, these are the half Shikaras. Then there are quarter Shikaras. If you see this, they are mimicking the shape of the main Shikara. So you can see they are mimicking the same shape is there, but they vary in size. Now these are called Shringas. They are the quarter Shikaras. They are placed horizontally at the base of the Shikara. So this is the outer wall of the Garbhagruha. It is called Mandovar. This is the Garbhagruha. Outside wall is this. And this is the Kapota or the Chhajja or the roof. And this is where the Shikara starts. So you can see this miniature Shikaras are all clubbed horizontally and they go vertically as well. So these are Shringas, these are Uru Shringas. And above this, there's a Amlaka and Kalasha. And because it is a living temple, you'll see the Dvaja Danda. This is Dvaja Danda and this is Dvaja. Dvaja is very auspicious. We'll look at it tomorrow in details. Now, you'll see this temple belongs to Lord Shiva. So you'll have the Trishul and a Damru over here. And on this Dvaja, you will have again Trishul Damru and Nandi is depicted. This is Somnath temple. It has got Shekhari Shikhara. Now we have one more. There's one more. Sorry, just one. Just one moment, please.
Recording in progress.
I'm sorry. So now there's another important Shikhara which is called Bhumija Shikhara. Now, if you look at this, this is a basic four walls of the Shikhara, but over here, the Shikhara is made up of small Shikharas. So these are the small Shikharas which are placed horizontally and vertically. They go vertically also and across they go horizontally. They create a grid, like a grid kind of a structure. So this is called Bhumija Shikhara. So this is the outer wall of the Garbhagriha. This is the Chajja or Kapota, and above that the Shikharas, miniature Shikharas are placed one above another. So this is Bhumija Shikhara. Then we also have a Shikhara called as Famsana Shikhara or Fasana. Okay, now in this it is broad based starting here and in shorter in height as compared to the other three Shikharas we saw, and the roof is made of several slabs that gently rise in smaller slabs to a single point over the center of the temple, making a pyramidal shape. So this kind of a shikharas are found on the mandapas. They are not found on the main temple. So this is Fasana or Famsana Shikhara. Now there's one more Shikhara which is called as Vallabhi, which is wagon vaulted style. So if you look at this temple, the Shikhara is the wagon vaulted style Shikhara, rectangular building. It is made on, wherever the Garbhagriha is rectangular in shape, you have this kind of a Shikhara, which is Valbi, it's called as Valbi. And if you see this shape, this edge of the vaulted chamber is round. It is mimicking the shape of the bamboo wooden wagons that would have been drawn by the bullocks in the ancient times. So you can see the shape they are mimicking over here. So this is the way they look. And this is Telika Mandir in Gwalior, which has the wagon vaulted Shikhara. Now let's talk about the Chandela style. You have seen the different Shikharas. Now let's talk about the sub-school of Nagara style, which is the Chandela style. And Chandelas ruled over the central India from 9th century CE to the 13th century CE. And they are the ones who have created the magnificent Khajuraho group of temples, right? So what is the speciality of this temple? That they have Mukha Mandapa, that is the entry point, Mandapa, Maha Mandapa, and the Garbhagriha. Garbhagriha is usually square in shape. All the mandapas are connected to each other through antrala. Both the exterior and the interior of the temple is highly ornamented. It is made up of sandstone, as it is amply available in the locality. They are mostly east facing, and some of them are also north facing. And the speciality of this temple of Chandela style is they have very high jagati. They are placed on a very high platform, right? And these mandapas have shikharas, which is very different to the Solanki style. Let's see how. So these are the prime examples of the Chandela style. So you will see that they're highly ornamental. This is Lakshmana temple. This is a Jain temple, and this is the Vishwanath temple. So you'll see the mandapas you enter from here, connected to Antral, one more mandapa, then Maha Mandapa connected to the Garbhagriha. And every mandapa has its own shikhara. So let's look at it from the example of Khandaria Mahadev temple. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It is based in MP. It was built by the Chandela King Vidyadhar I in the 11th century CE. This is a Sandhar Prasad. Yesterday we saw what are the different kinds of prasad. So one of the prasad was Sandhar Prasad. Sandhar means there is a pradakshina path given around the Garbhagriha to do the parikrama. Now this temple is built to mimic either Mount Kailash or Mount Meru, which is considered to be the center of the universe. So wherever the temple is built, it is always considered that temple is at the center of the universe, right? So because they are trying to mimic Mount Meru. Now, if you see, look at this picture, you'll see this Jagati is 4 meters high. So one of the specialities, very high Jagati. You climb the steps of the Jagati, then you come to the platform. So the platform provides the space to the parikrama from outside. Now, as you see, you climb the steps or the Sopan Marga, and these are the Toranas. See, this is a Torana, which you find mostly in Nagra style. This is the Elika Torana, which is shaped like a caterpillar. You enter through this mandapa. These are the balconies which are constructed for the devotees to sit and chant or take rest. So this is the entry point. This is Mukha Mandapa. Now above the Mukha Mandapa, you will see a shorter Shikhara. This Shikhara has Amlaka and Karasha. From Mukha Mandapa, you enter into the Mandapa. Again, there is a balcony. The balconies allow the light and air ventilation. So, and also the sitting arrangement. So balconies are here. This the Mandapa again has a Shikhara with the Amlak and Kadasha, which is then in turn attached to the Mahamandapa. Mahamandapa again has a Shikhara, but it's in the ascending order. The size of the Shikhara keeps on increasing, and the tallest one is the one which is on the Garbhagriha. Now, why they have done this? They have tried to mimic the mountain range. If you see the mountains, there's a bigger mountain as well as there are, attached mountain range of varying sizes. So this is that. And if you look at the Shikhara, it is the Shekhari Shikhara. And just below the Shikhara is the square Garbhagriha. Right? So let's look at the outside wall. Now here you will get a better idea. We just saw what is Shekhari Shikhara. The Shekhari Shikhara is the one in which the main Shikhara is covered with the various size of Shikharas called Urushringas. Right, the main Shikhara. This is attached to the main Shikhara, and this Urushringa is attached to the chest of this Shikhara. So various quarter Shikhara, I'm sorry, the half Shikharas are attached to the succeeding Shikharas. And at the base of the Shikhara, we have the Shringas, which are the quarter Shikharas, all clubbed at the bottom, and they go vertically and horizontally as well. So you can see this is a Shekhari Shikhara. Now this is the outer wall of the Garbhagriha, and you can see that there is a projection and a recess. It projects again, and there is a recess. There is a projection and a recess. And this is the way it looks from the close quarters. When you click the photograph, this is how it looks. It has got 3 level of Janga, 3-story Janga. Janga is the outer part of the Garbhagriha, and you see this is 1 story, this is 2nd story, this is 3 story. So it has got 3-story Janga, and it is highly decorated part of the temple. The highest number of sculptures are found on the Janga. So this is how the wall looks from outside. This is how the sculptures are there. This is the Vyala. Vyala are the mythical beings made of various animals put together to show that this particular animal has the power of elephant, lion, or a tiger, all put together, and they're hiding in the recesses of the temple and watching over the temple to protect the temple. Right? So see, you can see it here. They're in the recesses here. In the recess, they are like, you have to pay attention to find them. So they are here. So they are in the recess, and you can see the sculptures over here. All the gods and goddesses, the apsaras, dikpalas, they are all depicted here. So the various gods and goddesses are here. So lots of profusion of sculptures. So this is how the external wall of Khajuraho or the Chandela style of temples look like from outside. Now let's come to Odisha or Kalinga architecture. Kalinga is the old ancient name for Odisha region. Now this particular Kalinga architecture has three types of shikharas. One is the Rekha Deul. This is the Rekha Deul. Now Rekha means straight line. Unlike the Kalinga architecture, which goes up and then it takes a curvilinear shape. Here, this is the Garbhagriha, which is square in shape. It is called Deud. Just above that rises the superstructure. It goes straight up and then it truncates, over which this is the big amlaka which is placed, and above that, that is the kalasha. Now, the speciality of this particular superstructure is that it has got um, this particular area is called bhumi. Now, bhumi is a straight vertical space that goes, and in this niches, the half amlakas are placed. These are all filled with amlakas, and they are called bhumi. This portion is called rahapaga. Let's not get into the technical details, but we have to always remember that temple is divided into pitha, that is the base of the temple, the body of the temple, that is the mandapa or janga, and above which there is a shikara, which is then also includes the amlaka and the kadasha. So Rekha Deul is the superstructure which is directly above the Garbhagriha, right? And we find this in the temples of Vishnu, Shiva, and Surya. Now, this is the Pida Deul. Pida Deul is again a superstructure, but you find them only on the Jagamohana or the Mandapas. You'll never find a Pida Deul on the Garbhagriha. So you'll find this kind of a superstructure on the Bhoga Mandapa, various mandapas which are there in the Odishan style. So in the temples of Vishnu, Shiva, and Surya, above the mandapas is the Pida Deul. So if you see, it is the Fansana superstructure where the horizontal steps are stacked one above the other in the reducing size, and it truncates over here, and above which a ghanta is placed, and above which is amlaka and shikara, amlaka and karasha. So this is Pida Deul, and there's one more shikara which is called Khakra Deul. Now this Khakra Deul is found only on the temples of goddesses like Chamunda and Durga temples. So this is the Rekha Deul. You can see this this shikhara. It is a very peculiar kind of a shikhara. This is the Rekha style. This is the neck, which is called Griva. This is Amlaka. And this is the Kadasha. Now, this is the Pida style. You'll see the Pansana Shikhara going up in a pyramidal, creating a pyramidal shape, top with Ghanta, Amlaka, and Kadasha. And this is the Khakra Deul style. Right? So, let's look at the Khakra Deul style Shikhara. But before that, let's have a look at this. Now, this is the Rekha Deul, and this whole structure is also called Vimana, right, including the Garbhagriha. So, this is the Rekha Deul. Attached to Rekha Deul is the Jagamohana, what we call in Solanki style is a Guda Mandapa or a Sabha Mandapa. Here it is called Jagamohana, which is performing the same function of the assembly hall right in front of the Garbhagriha. So you can see the Pida Deul is placed over here, Ghanta and Amlaka and Kadasha. Now there are various other mandapas also placed here, which is Bhoga Mandapa, the hall of offering. This is one of the mandapas which are called as Nata Mandira. which is called the Nritya Mandapa in the Solanki style, where the dances were performed as a part of a Rangabhog. Will come to Rangabhog. So, in the Odissin temples, there was a very strong pranali of having Devadasis devoted to the temple who would perform the auspicious dance for the Lord. So, in Odissin temples, the inner walls are plain. Not much emphasis is given on the pillars, which is unlike the other temples, because most of the temples, lot of ornamental pillars are used in the temples, but here it is not so, and it is mostly made of chlorite and laterite. So this is the temple which exemplifies the Rekha Deol. This is the Jagannath temple in Puri. It was constructed by Anantavarman Chodaganga of the Eastern Ganga dynasty. So this is the Rekha Deol. It is over here. This is a huge Amlaka Karasha. We'll see these important elements in the coming slides. This is the Jagamohana, and you'll see the Pida Deul here, Ghanta Amlaka, and Karasha. This is a Natamandira. Again, the similar Pida Deul is there. This is the entrance of this temple. It has got the fortified wall, what we call prakaram in Dravidian temples. These are the walls. It is enclosed in the wall. It is enclosed in two set of walls called as Meghnad Pacheri and the Kurma Veda. So there are two fortifications to this temple. Right. So this is the east facing temple, and this is the main darwaza or the dwar. It is called Sinha Dwar because of these two lines over here. Right, you can see the Pida Dev, you can see the Ganta and all. Now, in front of this Sinha Dwar facing the east, we find this Aruna Stamba. Now, Aruna, Aruna is the name of the charioteer of Lord Surya. So the iconography of Lord Surya is that he is riding a chariot driven by 7 horses, and his charioteer is Aruna. And now we saw that Garuda Stamba is mandatory to be placed in front of the Vishnu temples. Now, Lord Jagannath is a form of Lord Krishna, so it is the Vishnu avatar. So there should be a Garuda Stamba. In case of Garuda Stamba, we have Aruna Stamba. So why is that so? So this Stamba was not. It was not a part of the temple. This Aruna Stamba belonged to the Konark Surya Mandir, right? So that was uprooted from there, and in the 18th century, it was uprooted from there and placed here in front of the Jagannath temple, right? So this is 16-sided, 34 feet tall, monolithic chloride stone pillar. Now we saw in the Vedic, in the lecture yesterday, that Vishnu was a small solar deity in the Vedic times, which became a major deity in the Puranic times called Vishnu, right? So it was a solar deity. So the association of Vishnu with Surya is the reason why the Aruna Stamba is also appropriate for the Vishnu temple. So you can see here Aruna sitting over here. So this is the one quirky fact about this temple. Now above the Shikhara, there is a Amalaka, and this is a Kadasha. And you'll see this Urdhava Pundra, which is the Tilaka of Vaishnava sect, is painted out here. And above this, this is called a Neela Chakra. Right? It is made of Ashtadhatus. And if you see this, Neela Chakra is nothing but the Sudarshan Chakra of Lord Vishnu. And this flag is called Patita Pavan, that is the purifier, the lifter of the fallen. So these are the very important insignias of the deity in the Garbhagriha which are placed on the Shikhara. So from far away, see, if whenever you go to the temple, you are able to see the Shikhara or the flag and the Karasha from far away. So from far away, people are able to identify there's a temple here and whom it belongs to. So this is the significance. Tomorrow we'll look at the symbolism. Today we are just going to see the architectural styles. Now let's come to the Konark Surya Mandir, which was built in 13th century CE, again by the Eastern Ganga dynasty and the King Narsimha Deva. Three different kinds of material is used to build this temple. That is chloride, laterite, and condylite. And this is the conjectural drawing done by Archaeological Survey of India to show how the temple would have looked in its intact form when it was built. So you see here, it would have had the Pida Deul, and then this is a Jagmohana, which is still existing. So this is Rekha Deul, this is Jagmohana, this is Nata Mandira, and this is the compound wall. So now this particular structure has collapsed. It no longer exists. What we see currently is this. We see Jagamohana, which is there. We have Nata Mandir, where the upper part, that is the Pida Deul, has disappeared. So you can see it here. The Pida Deul is there, but it is no longer there. It has become extinct. So this is the Nata Mandira. You enter through the steps. Look at the Jagati, such a high Jagati and highly decorated Jagati it is there. Lots and lots of carvings here. Beautiful Nata Mandira. This is the main entrance. And you can see this Jagamohana has got the Pida style of superstructure over here. Now, if there's a Shiva temple, then on the temple walls, you'll find various forms of Lord Shiva, like his Samhara Roop, his Anugraha Roop, his cosmic dance forms, his yogic forms, his Bhairava Swarup, his Veerabhadra, his form is Veerabhadra, he with Devi Parvati. So various forms are depicted to show his various attributes. Similarly, in the Sun Temple, you'll find the sun's 12 different forms called as Adityas. So, one sun for every month. So, 12 Adityas for 12 months. So, if you look at this Adityas, the Adityas is nothing but sun god himself. You'll see that he's standing in the Samabhaga position. That means he's standing straight. And the iconography of Surya is that he holds two full blown lotuses in his hands. So other lotus is destroyed. So from here you can see that this is how the lotuses look, right? And he's shown riding a chariot driven by 7 horses. There are the 7 horses here. His charioteer Aruna is here. Here he's shown riding a single horse. He's wearing a Kirita Mukuta. Right, so this is the iconographical details of Surya. Then he's accompanied by his Dwarapalas, like we'll have a look at them in details. Danda and Pingala. Right, so this is how he is depicted. So 12 Adityas. Now this is very interesting observation by few scholars. They said that the sun rises in the east. That means it's just born. So one of the Adityas over here depicts the face of the morning sun, a happy face of a child, a youthful face. Then, as the sun reaches the midday, he becomes a young man, a mature adult, and his face is youthful. And during the sunset, the face of the evening sun looks tired and old because uh, he's fading away. So asta ho raha hai. So just the way a man is born youthful and child, and then you become a teenager and adult, and eventually one becomes old, and then you're reborn again. So this is the cycle they have tried to show in this particular uh, faces of the Adityas, 12 Adityas. Now, we have to remember that the temples are depicted in two kinds. One is a mountain, which we saw in the form of a shikharas, and the second is in the form of a chariot. So, this particular temple is built in the form of a huge chariot driven by 7 horses. So, this is one of the horse. It is pulling this chariot. So, you can see this is a chariot. So, this is a Jagamohana. These are the wheels. There are 24 wheels depicting 24 hours in a day, and there are 8 spokes in this wheel depicting the 8 prahars of 3 hours each. And the wheel signifies the 3 aspects of life, that is creation, preservation, and rejuvenation. So, this is the wheel. It has got 8 spokes, and there are beautiful medallions here. I mean, the carving is so minute and beautiful, and so amazing. In such a small space they're able to do wonders. And this is the Jagati, and you can see Jagati is so highly sculpted with beautiful figures. So this is a Natamandira. These are the steps. This is again the Jagati, and these are the pillars. This is the Jagamohana and the entrance of the Jagamohana. See, this is the Dwar Shaka. These are the various sculptures. These are the various creepers and flowers, and here there are in this blocks. This is the lintel. It's called Lalata Bimba. Here there are various depictions of Lord Surya, and this is the main entrance to the Nata Mandira, and you can see the Jagamohana from here. And these are the huge lions pouncing on the huge elephants, and below this elephant there is a figure of human. 2 humans are depicted here. This is the dancers, the musicians sculpted on the Jagamohana. These are the Mithuna couples. Large number of erotic sculptures are sculpted both on Konark Surya Mandir and Modhera Surya Mandir. Now, coming to the last type of superstructure, the Shikhara, prevalent in Odishan architecture, that is Khakra Deul. So, this is the wagon vaulted style of Shikhara, which is placed above the Garbhagruha of the temples of the Devis. And this picture is of Baitala Deval temple in Bhubaneswar. This is a tantric temple and dedicated to Chamunda goddess. So this is on a very busy street. You can't imagine such a beautiful temple in such a place, but it is there. So this is how the superstructure looks like. This is called Trimundia. Mundia means spires. So these are 3 spires shown here, representing 3 devis: Mahakali, Mahasaraswati, and Mahalakshmi. So 3 goddesses here. This is Amlaka, and this is a Kalash, and these are the flags of those deities. And these are the depiction of Lord Shiva over here. And you can see that he is shown with the erect penis. It's because it is a tantric temple. This is the kind of depiction that you find commonly in these temples. So these are the Apsaras. This is Darpana Sundari looking into the mirror. And these are beautiful sculptures. The picture is not doing justice to them, but they are very beautifully sculpted. This is again Lord Shiva, and you can see he's shown with the erect penis, again showing the tantric influence. This is the depiction of Lord Surya. Here you can see the full-blown lotuses, 7 horses, Aruna his charioteer, and Usha and Pratyusha always accompany him. They are shown. These two are shown along with him, and basically they are shown throwing arrows. So when Lord Surya, when the sunrise happens, first you'll see that there are light colors appearing on the horizon. So they say that this is Usha and Pratyusha. They shoot the arrows at the darkness and dispel the darkness, and that's how the Surya Dev starts his journey from east to west. So this is Lord Shiva dancing, and it's beautifully sculpted. As you can see, various kind of things are sculpted here. So now coming to the Solanki architecture, Solankis are the ones who ruled Gujarat and Rajasthan from 11th to 13th century C. Square Garbhagruha, mandapas are both open and closed. Mandapas and the Garbhagriha are axially aligned. A mandova has projection and recesses, as in the temple of Khajuraho's. We saw the projections and recesses are there, the outer walls. Shikhara is there on top of the Garbhagriha, and on the top of the mandapas there is an element called as Samarna. We'll have a look at it. And again, the Amlaka and Karasha are found atop the Shikhara above the Garbhagriha. So Samarna is the pyramidal shaped structure which is made up of inverted bell, the ghanti that you see, which is used in the temples. So if you keep it in an inverted position, that is the kind of shape this particular small elements are there. They are placed in a horizontal fashion in a diminishing number, giving it a pyramidal shape. So we'll see how it looks. So this is the Dwarkadish Mandir in Dwarka. So here, this is the mandapa, right? This is the Shikhara. This is the Shekhari Shikhara, highly ornamental. Shekhari Shikhara, Amlaka and Kadasha. And here, above the mandapa, you have Samarna. We'll see this. This is one of the prominent examples of Solanki architecture. Rani Ki Vav, which is a 7-storied step well, is again a beautiful example of Solanki architecture. You can see the ornamentation of this particular wow. It is absolutely wow. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Must visit. You should visit, and you'll be surprised at the kind of the artistry, the quality of artistic work that one can achieve. It is mind blowing. So we come to the Somnath temple, which is again a prime example of the Solanki architecture to understand it better. So this is the kind of superstructure that you find on the mandapas called Samarna. You enter the temple through the Mukha Mandapa, which is a porch made of pillars. Again, on the top of that, there is a Samarna. You walk through, this is the Nritya Mandapa. You can see the Samarna here. This is the open pillared Mandapa. It is open from all the sides. And there are exits. These are the exits. It has got exits from 3 sides. You walk through the Nritya Mandapa. You walk through the Sabha Mandapa. Again, the Sabha Mandapa has Samarna as a superstructure. As you can see, it is made up of small karashas and or a bell-shaped architectural elements placed in the reducing number to achieve this pyramidal shape, and top with Amlak and Karasha. Now, this is the Garbhagriha, which is square in shape. You can see this has got a Shekhari Shikhara. So you can see the main superstructure here, 4-sided. And on that, you have this Uru Shringas. And the Shringas are all clubbed here horizontally and vertically at the base of the Shikhara. Now, the interesting thing to observe here is, we said the gods stay on the mountain. So these are the small Ratikas. Ratikas are the miniature temples placed here. See this. This is Ratika, this is Ratika, this is Ratika. These are the Ratikas. So this tells you that on the Shikhara, there are various deities who are staying. Now here, this is called Skandapatti, that is the shoulder of the Shikhara. And here, the picture cannot show you, but here you'll see Apsaras and Gandharvas dancing at this area. Why? Because this is a celestial area, and celestial kingdom is kingdom of joy. So to show that, what better way than music and dance? This is Amlaka, and this is the Karasha. This is the Dhwaja Danda. This is the Dhwaja. This is Nandi depicted with the Trishul and Damru. This is again the Trishul and Damru. So this is the Solanki architecture. and it has got highly ornamented exterior walls. As I told you, it's called Mandovar, and you'll see here. Well, this is the Garbhagriha of Somnath Mandir. Originally, it was made of tiles, these walls, but later on, it is covered with the gold metal. It's a thick gold metal, which is got all these engravings like the original one. And not only in the inside of the Garbhagriha, but outside of the Garbhagriha is also enclosed in the thick metal sheets. So this is Somnath Mahadev, and in the Solanki temples, you'd always find that just behind the Shivlinga, you'll find Devi Parvati. And in the scriptures, it is given that the navel of Devi Parvati should equal the top portion of the Shivlinga. And Nandi should be placed in such a way in the Garbhagriha that the eye of the Nandi levels the top part of the Rudra Bhaga, that is the topmost portion of the Shivlinga. So, as I told you, that Nandis in Solanki temples are placed in the Sabha Mandapa in front of the Garbhagriha. I'm sorry about the quality of the picture. This is the Sabha Mandapa of Somnath temple, and Nandi is placed here, and Nandi is facing the Garbhagriha where the Shivling is. As I told you, the outside wall, as we saw in the Khajuraho temple, is highly ornamental, and so is this temple. We saw Khajuraho had 3-story janga. In Somnath, it is 2-story janga, that is 2 levels. So on this level, again, this is a projection, a recess, projection, recess, projection, recess. And in the recess, here you find Vyals, the mythical beings, along with the tapas or tapasvi. They are found in the niches. And on this protruding part, you'll see gods and goddesses, various forms of Lord Shiva, Dasha avatars of Lord Vishnu, various forms of Devis, and you'll see the guardians of the direction, Ashtadikpalas, and you'll see Sura Sundaris. So you can see them right next to the god. They are also placed here. Now coming to the Dravida architecture, unlike the northern part or Nagara architecture, the Dravida temples are enclosed in a compound wall called as Prakaram. Now, Prakarams have the entrance point called as Gopurams. Gopurams are tall structures. We're going to have a look at them in details tomorrow. The water tank is mostly enclosed within the compound walls. The Nandi has his own mandapa, right? So this is a Nandi mandapa. Nandi is placed in front of the temple facing the Garbhagriha. It has own mandapa. There is a Dwaja Stamba and there is a Balipitham in front of the temple. And this is the Garbhagriha. It could be like unlike the Nagara style, which was square shaped. Here the Garbhagriha can be square, rectangular, apsidal with no projections, right? And there are mandapas which are attached to the Garbhagriha, and there are mandapas which are placed in the various parts of the temple complex, right? So there are attached and unattached mandapas. Now the superstructure here is called Vimana. In the Nagara style, it was called Shikhara, but here, till here, it is called whole this area is called Vimana, and only the Kapola, which is placed above this, is called Shikhara, which is equivalent to the Amlaka of Nagara style, and which is then topped with the Karasha. Okay, so let's have a look at this. So there are various dynasties which ruled the southern part of India, starting with Pallavas, Cholas, Pandyas, Vijayanagara Empire, and the Nayakas of Madurai. So each of them had a very specific contribution to the evolution of Dravidian architecture. So the Dravidian architecture begin with Pallavas. The Pallavas are the ones who laid the foundation of the style and were responsible for two of its forms, which is the rock cut architecture and the structural temples, right? So the early temples constructed by the Pallavas in the 7th century CE were rock cut temples. And later on, they shifted from rock cut to the structured temples in the 8th to 9th century CE. Now, the group of monuments at Mahabalipuram is the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, which comprises of 40 temples, and the one of the most spectacular structured temple built by the Pallavas is the Kailashnathar temple in Kanchipuram. So now these are the group of temples at Mahabalipuram, which is they are the monolithic temples, rock cut temples. Monolithic means they are made out of a single rock, right? So the rocks were cut, and hence they are called as rock cut temples. So these are the group of temples which are called rathas. Ratha means nothing but, as I said, chariot. There are two forms. One is the shikhara form, another is the chariot form. So chariot means ratha, and here they are called pancharatha or panch pandav rathas. So these are the various rathas that are sculpted by them, and they're considered to be the workshop of experimentation of different kinds of structural designs with the Pallavas experimented there. Right. So let's look at them. So you have Dharamraja Rath, which you can see is devoted to Lord Shiva, which is the largest of all the rathas, and it is square in shape, and it is called three-story, 1, 2, and 3. And this is the Kapula again. Now, if you look at this, this is the Bhima Ratha, which is called the Chaitya Arch. This is barrel vaulted roof, and it has got this ogi or a Chaitya arch. Now, this is the Buddhist element. Like since ancient time, it has been used by all. So, very frequently found in the Buddhist rock cut architecture. So, this particular shape is the prototype of gopurams that you find um, in the Dravidian temples. Now, this is the Arjun Ratha. This is square in plan again. It is topped with the stupi, and there are high relief sculptures over here. You can see that. And this is the Vimana. So this is a Draupadi Rath in the form of a thatched roof. These are her Dwarpalikas, and there are beautiful sculptures inside. And this is Nakul and Sahadev Rath. And this similar gable architecture is shown here, and barrel vaulted roof is here. This is also very popular monolithic elephants. So this is the top view of the shore temple of Mahabalipuram. It is one of the most photographed monument, very popular on Instagram and Facebook and other social media. This is how the temple looks at the night time. It is a shore temple built in 8th century by Narasimhavarman II of Pallava dynasty. This is a structural temple made of granite, east facing. There are two shrines dedicated to Lord Shiva, and one is dedicated to Lord Vishnu. It's a beautiful temple, and you can see the prakara or the compound wall over here. So this is the wall, and you'll see the Vrushab or the bulls, they are placed on the prakarams. There's one more major attraction over there. This is the largest open air rock relief in the world called Arjunan's Penance. Now, this huge rock has many stories to tell us. As you can see, there's so much of narration going on. And this elephant's also very famous. So it's a beautiful monument to study and enjoy. Now, this is the most important structural element called as Kailashnathar temple. Kailashnathar means the lord of the cosmic mountain, located in Kanchipuram. This temple was built in 7th century CE by Narasimha Varman II, and the base of the temple is made of granite, and the rest of the temple is made of the sandstone. The granite is used because it can bear the load of the temple. Right now, look at this mythical standing lions. Now, this is one of the most prolific architectural elements you'll find in this temple. It is almost everywhere in the temple. So, this is the mandapa. This is the entrance into the temple. Look at the Dwarpalas here, the huge Dwarpalas. So one of the prominent feature of Dravida architecture as compared to Nagara is that in Nagara style architecture, the Dwarpalas are placed on the Dwara Shakha of the Garbhagruha. Whereas in the Dravida temple, the huge Dwarpalas, the fearsome Dwarpalas, are found at the entrance of the temples and at many entrances in the temple. So you can see the Dwarpalas here. Again, these standing lines. The Pallavas consider themselves as very courageous and ferocious as like lion, and hence this motif is used throughout the temple. You can see it here. You can see it everywhere. So this is the main temple, and you can see the Vimana over here. This is the Kapola and the Shikhara. So it's a four-story Vimana, one, two, three, and four, right? And these are the pillars of the mandapas. Again, the standing lines, you can see them here. This is the Gopura. Now try to see that the Gopuras are very small in size in the 7th century CE. This is a Prakaram wall. This is the Shivalinga, and this is a Nandi which is sitting facing the Garbhagruha. Now, after the Pallavas came the Chola dynasty, the majestic Cholas, the imperial Cholas. They ruled from 9th century CE to the 12th century CE. Their capital was Tanjavur from 9th century to the 13th century CE. They ruled over Deccan, Bengal, parts of Sri Lanka, Java, Sumatra, and Indonesia, and they were very wealthy, and which their economic and military might got reflected in the temple building activity. So they created lots and lots of temples. They were great patrons of art and architecture, and the multi-storied pyramid-like tower Vimana are ascribed to them, and they had huge mandapas, pillared halls, and boundary walls and huge dwarpalas are their contribution. And three of their temples, the living temples called living Chola temples, are the UNESCO heritage temples. So one of them is Airavateshwara temple in Darasuram. The second is the Gangaikonda Cholapuram. Here you can see the huge dwarpalas, and this is a huge Nandi sitting in facing the Garbhagriha. This is the Vimana. This is the Prakaram. So today we'll look at one of the biggest temple called Brihadeshwara temple in Thanjavur, the big temple, right? So if you look at this temple, so this is the huge Vimana, right? This is a huge Vimana. This is a mandapa. This is the entry point, right? So this is just a picture. We'll look at the details. So this is the aerial view of this temple. This temple was built by Rajaraja Chola I. It was built in 10th century CE. It took only 7 years for them to build such a huge temple. As I said, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This temple is dedicated to Lord Shiva. 130,000 tons of granite stone was used. There's a monolithic Nandi over here. The Shiva is 2-story tall, and there are about 252 Shivalingas present throughout the temple. And the Lord Shiva's 108 dance poses, the Karnas, are depicted in this temple. So here you can see it has got two Gopurams. The first Gopuram you enter, you walk this distance, then you enter this Gopuram, which is attached to this boundary wall, Prakaram. And when you enter, you meet the Nandi first. So this is a huge monolithic Nandi. It has got its own mandapa. And then this is the Sopan Marg. Then you enter into the temple, and then you come to the Garbhagriha placed here, which is 2-story Shivalinga. And there are various other temples dedicated to various deities in the complex. So this is the magnificent Vimana. Now, as I said that The gods stay on the mountain. So if you look at this particular picture, there are this square this corner element is called Kuta, right? It is square in shape. This is a mandir. This is a mini shrine. This is Kuta. This is called Karna Kuta or the corner Kutas. So everywhere, this is a square temple here. These are the Kutas on the edge, and this rectangular temple is called Shala. And this horizontal elements or the each story is called hara. Hara means the necklace. So imagine a woman is wearing a tight necklace around her neck. So how each and every element is geometrically placed. Similarly, if you look at this temple, you'll see that it is like a har. So if the har has got a vertical design pendant, and then a square and a rectangular pendant, then a square, so it follows a certain geometrical sequence. So similarly, this here the har also follows a geometrical sequence. So that is kuta, then a shala, then a kuta, then a shala, then a kuta, then a shala. So it goes on like this in a reducing number upward. So you'll see that the whole Vimana is made up of smaller Vimanas. So Vimana is what the whole temple. So if you look at the temple, it looks like one temple, but the whole temple is made up of small Vimanas, right? So here you can see that there are smaller temples. The whole temple is made up of smaller temples, telling us that Shikhara or the mountain is a place where the deities stay. So the various deities temples are placed here. So this is the mountain where the deities stay, and it is depicted by the number of deities placed in this. So you can see the sculptures. Look at the temple. So there are mini shrines placed at different levels, right? And this is topped by the stupika, and above that there is a kalasha. You can see this element. This is called nasika. Nasika means the nose. This is the kirti mukha. So these are the nasikas. This is the kapola, which is octagonal shape, and this is the kalasha. And one of the important things of Tanjavur temple is that I'm sorry, I am overshooting my time. Is it okay if I take 10 minutes more, please?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you so much. So this is the huge Shivlinga, and the speciality of this temple is that it has got huge number of inscriptions talking about who built the temple, how it was built, who gave what donation, which idol was gifted to the temple, by whom, which queen gave what. Like, and the most interesting inscription is of how a particular naivedyam is to be prepared. Right, so that is very interesting that a prasad or whatever is to be offered to the Lord, the whole recipe is given. Very interesting. We'll look at it in our fourth session. So this is the Gopuram. This is the Balipitam. This is the Nandi Mandapa. So you can see the huge Nandi, which is 12 feet high and 16 feet wide. And look at the ceiling of this Mandapa. Beautiful paintings are there. They're beautiful. So these are the huge Dwarpalas I spoke about. So this is again the top view. So after Cholas came Pandyas of the Tamil Nadu, and they ruled from 12th century to the 14th century. But now this is just one moment. This is the Gopuram during the Chola time. So it is hardly 1 or 2 story Gopuram. Now came the Pandyas of Tamil Nadu, and look at the size of the Gopurams. So why did this drastic change happen? Because during this time, the Islamic invasion started happening in the southern region, which was till then not attacked by the Islamic forces. They were safe. So the temples were safe, but then they started attacking the southern region, and hence the need to fortify the temples. And also, these tall gopurams were used as the watchtowers and as the defense structures, right? So the gopuram height became very large. Now, one of the prime examples is that of the Minakshi Amma temple in Madurai. So look at this beauty. Now, can you imagine this temple town? It's not a temple, it is temple town, and it is spread across 14 acres, and it is surrounded by three walls, and there are 14 gopurams. As you can see, there are the 14 gopurams here, and the tallest of them is 140 feet tall, right? There are nine gopurams. I mean, there are four gopurams which are 9 story. Rest are 7 story, 5 story, and 2 story. So you can imagine the magnitude or the grandness of these gopurams. So the story is that Meenakshi Amma was born with three breasts, and it was forecasted that the moment she marries Lord Shiva, the third breast will follow, and that's what happened when she got married to Lord Shiva. In Lord Shiva temples, you'll find this depiction, a very popular depiction of Panigrahan Murti, where Lord Vishnu, the brother of Meenakshi Amma, gives away her hand in marriage to Lord Shiva. So this is a Panigrahan Murti. So look at the beauty of these gopurams. So they're all mythical stories, mythical beings, various deities are depicted here. And this is the wagon vaulted top, as you can see, with lots of kalashas here. This is a 1,000 pillar hall. Look at the beauty of this hall. So now coming to the Vijayanagara dynasty, we'll see that they ruled from the 14th to 16th century, and their contribution is the beautifully sculpted pillars. Now we'll look at the Vithala temple in Hampi, built in 15th century CE by King Devaraya II of Vijayanagara dynasty. This is the Gopuram. Now this is one of the highly depicted and photographed monument called as Garuda Mandira. Now this is, as we saw that every Vishnu temple has a Garuda Samba. Instead of Garuda Samba, they have constructed a temple dedicated to Garuda. Right, so it is considered to be a monolithic temple in the form of a chariot, and here there used to be horses, but now that got vandalized, so they replaced it with the elephants. So this is the Vimana. These are the Sabha Mandapa pillars, musical pillars. When tapped, they make musical sound, made of granite. So now coming to the Vesara architecture. Vesara is the architecture which is a combination of Dravida and Nagara style, and this is mainly found in the Karnataka region, which was ruled by the various dynasties like Chalukyan of Badami, Rashtrakutas, Chalukya of Kalyan, and Hoysalas. So let's look at, like as I said, it is a combination of two, and they have open pradakshina path outside the temple, and then the speciality is that the ground plan is star shaped. It gives a stellate shape to the temple. Garbhagriha is oval, multi-pointed, and star shaped again. So we'll have a look at it. So this Chalukyans of Badami, they ruled over the Deccan region, and their important contribution is Badami caves. Now this is the Badami cave, which is carved out of a mountain made of sandstone. This is the entry to the temple, which is a Mukha Mandapa made of number of pillars. And as you step inside, in the mandapas, you'll find beautiful sculptures. This is the dancing Shiva Nataraja sculpture is here. Then you have the Varaha Roop of Lord Vishnu, saving Bhu Devi or the earth, and you'll see that the demon had taken the earth of Bhu Devi at the bottom of the ocean, and so Lord Vishnu takes the form of Varaha Avtara and then brings out Bhu Devi out of the ocean. Now, this is a Trivikram of Lord Vishnu. As we all know the story of Vamana, Lord Vishnu goes in form of a Vamana to Bali Raja and asks for donation. And Bali Raja then says, what is that you want? He said, I want as much as I can cover in my 3 strides. So when Bali Raja agrees to it, Lord Vishnu takes the huge Virata roop, and in one stride he takes control. I mean, he takes control of Earth, Prithvi Lok, Patal Lok, and the Swarga Lok. All the 3 lokas he covers in his 3 strides. So this is how it is depicted. So this is his Vaman roop. This is Bali Raja over here. And this Badami Caves is beautiful, beautiful, amazing ceiling. You might not feel that this is an amazing design, but let me tell you, this is a symbolic representation of many abstract concepts of our cosmos. We'll look at it day after tomorrow. So now coming to the Rashtrakuta Empire, which was founded in 8th century CE, and these temples are mostly carved from stones and are in caves. Made the prominent example of Rashtrakuta is the Kailasha temple in Verur, Maharashtra, which was built by King Krishna I. And they also call as Ellora Caves or Verul Caves. This is cave number 16, called as Kailash Temple. Now, this is a largest monolithic temple structure which is carved out of a single gigantic basalt rock, which measures 33 meters wide and 50 meters long. Now, can you imagine this huge structure is carved out of a single rock? And the mind blowing fact is that they started carving this temple from the top. Normally, the temples are built by the foundation, then the base, then the walls, then the superstructure, and then the rest of the things. But in the case of this particular temple, they started carving it from the top. So they carved out the Amalaka first, then the Shikhara, then the Mandapa. So they started from top bottom approach and from outside to inside. So one can only imagine a small mistake in hammering a chisel and the whole sculpture is gone. It cannot be used. So imagine the kind of dexterity, the kind of concentration that was required to create this kind of a magnificent structure. So this is the ground plan. This is the Garbhagriha. This is the Parikrama Marga. This is the Mandapa. This is the Nandi facing the Garbhagriha. These are the Kirti Stambhas, and this is the Prakaram, and this is the Gopura. So let's have a look at this. So this is the Prakaram. On the left side, you have Shaivite deities depicted on the Prakaram. This is the Vaishnavite deities. This is the Gopura, 2-story Gopura. So you can see this wagon vaulted style element on the top. So this is the Kirti Stambha. This is the outside wall of the Mandapa depicting the epics Ramayana and Mahabharata. This is the Gajathara. And this is the mind-blowing Garbhagriha. This is a Mandapa. Can you imagine? This is carved out of a single rock. Unbelievable. The symmetry, the finishing is something which one has to visit and see and get astonished. So this is a huge Shivlinga. These are the pillars. These are the Dwarpalas, the huge Dwarpalas over here. This is the Prakaram, and in behind this pillars are the huge sculptures depicting the various forms of Lord Shiva over here. This is the base of the temple. This is the Gajathara. This is the top view, how the Vimana looks. This is the Kapola. This is the top of the Mandapa. This is a panel depicting the epics, Ramayana and Mahabharata. This is the Ravana Anugraha panel where Lord Shiva is showing mercy on the Ravan. So these are the these are monolithic elephants. So this temple is one should visit without fail. Now coming to the Hoysala architecture, which ruled from 10th to 13th century C. These temples are found at Halebedu, Belur and Somnathpura in Karnataka region. Now let's look at the Chennakeshwar temple in Belur. This is the Gopuram, the entry point. This is the Prakaram. This is the Garud Stamba. Now this is the temple. If you see, this is the Jagati. It is the platform on which the temple is constructed. Now, if you look at the entrance also in the Jagati, there are miniature temples. See this. There are miniature temples enshrined in the Jagati. You climb the steps, you'll find the two Dwarpalas. Now, if you look at this temple, it is highly intricately carved. Why? Because they have used the soapstone, which is soft as compared to the other stones. So they were able to carve out the minute details. So it's highly ornamented temple. You can see that this platform is star shaped. Now the same star shaped stellate plan is continued throughout the temple. So let's say we take this point. Okay. So you come to the outside wall. It is again corresponding to this pointed angles throughout. It goes till the top. So the whole temple is star shaped. You can look at the shikhara. You can look at the walls. So everywhere it follows the same stellate plan. And it doesn't have a pradakshina path around the temple. It's nirandar. So the outside platform is used to do the pradakshina over here. And look at the amount of carving that is there everywhere. Now look at the shikhara. Now shikhara is the combination of the Nagara style as well as Davida. So look at the star shape plan which continues even with the shikhara. And you can see these are the miniature temples in which the deities are enshrined. See, sorry, everywhere. So just like Nagara Shikharas, Dravida Vimanas, this Shikhara also has multiple miniature shrines all throughout their structure. So again, they are saying that the deities stay on the mountains and the Shikhara is mimicking them. So this Belur temple, Chennakeshwar temple, has 42 Madanikas. Madanikas is another form of apsaras, and they are found on the brackets on the pillars. 42 of them. As you circumambulate the temple, you see this Madanikas exhibiting various Navarasas, right? So they are very beautiful. Again, on the walls, as you walk, you'll see these walls are depicting various Madanikas here. See this. They're dancing, they're chamar dharini, they're playing some musical instrument. And you have to notice here that this is the miniature shikhara, the layer of miniature shikhara, which is showing that again these elements which are down are in the form of a temple. Now, on the outside wall of the Garbhagriha, these are the large 81 panels that you come across as you circumambulate the temple. So what you find here, the various leelas of Lord Krishna. You'll find Lord Shiva's forms as well. Vishnu's Dashavtara is also there. So you'll find all the major forms, kriyas or the leelas performed by these deities. You see this Narsimha avatar of Lord Vishnu killing Hiranyakashipu. This is Gajasur Samhara by Lord Shiva. Gaj is the elephant. He kills this demon in the form of elephant, and he is holding his hide in his hand and dancing. This is Gajasur Samhara. Now this is again Ravananugraha Murti, where Ravan becomes audacious and he tries to lift Mount Kailasha. And this is the Kailash temple depicted with all its elements. Here is Lord Shiva sitting with Devi Parvati. And then Lord Shiva just presses his right toe. And Ravan is trapped below the mountain. And he starts crying. And then he starts singing praises uh, in the glory of Lord Shiva, and the Lord Shiva forgives him. That's why it's called Ravananugraha Murti. Now, the speciality of Hoysala architecture is this lathe machine-made pillars. This is a unique shape of Hoysala temples, and they are known by this shape. So these are the pillars which you find in Hoysala temples. Now, this is the lintel over the Garbhagriha of the temple. This is a makar, and from the mouth of the makar comes out this kind of a torana. It's called makar torana, and this is a Lord Vishnu with Devi Parvati sitting over here. So it's a very minute carving which is done. It's a beautiful, beautiful panel. Requires a lot of time to see, observe, and appreciate. So it is placed here on the top of the Garbhadwar. This is the Garbhagriha. The doors are closed. These are the Dwarpalas, Jai and Vijay. It is said that the way the disposition of the deity in the Garbhagriha, the disposition of Dwarpals are also as per their lords. Whatever is the disposition of the lord, the Dwarpals also have a similar disposition. So this temple belongs to Chenna Keshava. Chenna means handsome Keshava. So you can imagine he's in his beautiful beatic form. So his Dwarpals are also in a calm and composed posture. So they are standing aram se, standing with the gada. Whatever the implements his lord is holding, the Dwarpals also holding the similar implements. Shankha Chakra, Gada Padma. So these are the ceilings, and highly intricate ceilings are there in Hoysala temples, full of symbolism that we'll see day after tomorrow. So to sum up the session, Nagara temples are found in the northern India up to Vindhyas. Their Garbhagriha is square with graduated projections. They have mandapas which are connected to each other through an antrala. The tower or the shikhara is curvilinear in shape. The crowning elements are amlaka with small kalashas, and they may or may not have the boundary. It's not compulsory. Whereas Dravida architecture is found below Krishna, the Garbhagriha is either square, rectangular, upsidal with no projection. It has both the mandapas attached to the Garbhagriha and the separate mandapas, large ones that too, for various functions with large ornamental pillars. It has got the superstructure is pyramidal in shape with different tiers or the layers with collection of mini temples. It is topped with cupola of square, octagonal, round or wagon top, and they have boundary walls. It's compulsory with tall gopurams. Vesara is the style which is from Vindhyas to Krishna. The Garbhagriha is either oval, circular, or multi-point star. Now, the mandapas is a mixture of both, Dravida and Nagara style, and they have a very unique shaped pillars which are circular in shape. The tower is mix of both Dravida and Nagara style, and the topping elements, the top of the shikhara, you have Amalaka and Kadasha. The boundary is optional. They can have boundaries or may not have boundaries. I'm sorry I took extra time today for that. And with this, we close the session. If there are any queries, you can ask me.